Okay, now it's time to learn how to use whatever we've learned thus far. We learned how to compare numbers, now it's time to apply it. And the way we're going to apply it is by learning how to do conditions, how to do checks, and do something with these checks. Here is an example. So, normally in computer programming, in C# in particular, oftentimes we want to do some conditions. Let's say you have a site like softunit.bg and you want to go there and you want someone to log in. And you want to check if the user inputs a valid username and a valid password, I want you to let him in. Okay? So you want to do that check. Now, having this condition means that you can't execute the same code for two different people. You could, but it's not always the case. When do you have a difference? Well, if in one case you have one person who correctly inputs his username and password, you will log him in. But in the other case, if you have someone who doesn't input his credentials correctly, you will display an error message. So you have two different branches you want to go to depending on the result of a check. And how do you do a check? Well, here is an example we have here. We use something called an if statement. An if statement, what it does is, first it has some syntax. You write it like that. You write the keyword if, just like that. It's chosen. It's not something you can modify. That's just how things are. Then you put some brackets, but note that the brackets are normal brackets, not curly ones. Then you have some curly brackets and input some commands. What does this do? Well, basically it means, look, I want you to check if this condition is true. What do I mean by condition? Well, it means an operation which returns either true or false. What's such an operation? Well, the operation 5 plus 10 is not a condition because it returns a number. It returns the number 15. The operation hello plus softunit is not a valid condition because it outputs as a result a string. It outputs hello softunit. But if you have the operation is a number greater than the other, that operation returns as a result true or false. And if an operation returns as a result true or false, independent of how it achieved it, that's a condition. So if you have comparison, you have a condition with the operators we learned. If you have some kind of procedure which occurs and in the end returns true or false, you have a condition. For example, the procedure might be check if the user is valid. That can contain multiple steps. It's not simply checking two numbers. It would require you to first go and see whether a username with some string already exists. If it does exist, then do something else in order to invoke an error message and finally return true or false. That's a condition, and it's a more complex one. You see, there are multiple steps, and these steps can be numerous. But the thing is that whatever you do, whatever legwork you do in order to achieve it, if in the end you have a true or false, that's still a condition. You'll see that later on in your programming training how you do that, but now we're only going to use simple conditions like comparing two numbers. Okay, later on you'll learn how to use some more complex things. So we have an example here. What's the example? Imagine that some person inputs you a grade. That's the grade he has in his math subject in school. And you want to output the message excellent if the grade is greater than 5.5. Now, this might be a bit unfamiliar to you depending on what region you're living in, but here we're using the Bulgarian grading system. The Bulgarian grading system contains the grades 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, I'll switch to yellow. So it contains 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which correspond to F, C, sorry, this is B. I'm not sure what the American one was. D. Okay, so it's D, C, B, A. Okay, so you have this. That's the things they correspond to. It's kinda. And if someone has the grade 5.5, that means that he's in between these two. And if it's greater than 5.5, that's an excellent. Okay, although it's not a full 6. So that's something to have in mind, which is just necessary for this exercise. So we want to say, if you have this number, then output something. How do we output something? Based on a condition. Well, first we do an if statement, as we said. We have an if statement and we have a condition. What do we do afterwards? Well, we write curly brackets. These curly brackets show us that we're starting a new block of code. But the trick here is that this block of code will only execute if the condition is met. So if you have some, let's say, okay, I've got white. If you have, for example, some commands, console write when something, console write when something, console write when something. These commands are sequential. They happen one after the other, and it doesn't matter. There's no condition. They always unconditionally execute. But if you have console write when something, if something, console write when, and then you have console write line, here you have these curly brackets. I'm drawing them very badly. I don't have my pen today, but that doesn't matter. So here we have these conditions here, and the thing is that here these will execute unconditionally. They'll always execute. Only when some extreme circumstance occurs, then the second or the third console write one won't happen. But here, in the other case, these two will always happen because they're on the same level. But this one will only happen if the condition we have here is met. That's it. And we have a task now. Our task is to say if someone inputs a grade, that will always happen. Then you have a condition. If that grade is greater than 5.5, then output something. But that outputting will only happen if the grade is greater than 5.5. It won't happen in other cases. And then continue the normal execution of the problem. How do you apply that? Where have you encountered this? This might sound strange, but you're using that every day. Imagine that you are going to the shop and you want to buy some groceries. You want to buy some milk, you want to buy some bread, you want to buy some tomatoes, let's say. And then you always buy this unconditionally, independent of whatever the circumstances are. Unless something extreme happens like a zombie apocalypse or invasion, you always buy those products. But you have a condition, and that condition is that if in the shop you see a chocolate bar of your favorite chocolate, you would buy that as well. But you would only buy that if that is there. Now the condition can be different. For example, the condition could be if it's Saturday, buy a chocolate bar. Only if it's Saturday, because on Saturday you have a cheat day and you don't follow your diet. So on Saturday you are allowed to cheat and you buy chocolate apart along with the other groceries. So what's the thing here? You have several commands. Buy tomatoes, buy bread, and buy milk, which always happen, and you have one fourth command which happens only when a given condition is met. In order to express that in computer software, for example, if you don't want to always go to the shop to buy your products, you're a very good programmer and you've created your own robot who goes to the shop for you. In order to tell him what to do, you have to create a program. And the program you have to write is one which does the thing you're doing in real life. Computers are machines which automate stuff, and you want to automate your grocery shopping. So to your robot, what you say is, hey, I want you to go to the shop, buy milk, tomatoes, whatever, and if it's Saturday, I want you to buy chocolate as well. In order to achieve that, you would use if statements like in this example. So let's actually see it. Before we go to the example, let's say you go to the shop. So you say, hey, you say to a robot, go to your shopkeeper in any case. So you say, hey, hello, Mr. Frank. That's your lovely shop clerk. Then you say, I want some tomatoes. Then you say, I want some bread. You always say I want some because you're a stupid robot, you can't do it otherwise. And you have to sound all like a robot, otherwise they're going to think you're a threat to humanity and kill you. So that's an important issue there. Then you say, finally, I want some milk. Okay. And now you wanna say the following thing. Hey, I have a date which is outputted. Someone gives it as an external string, and I want to say, hey, if the date is Saturday. By the way, note how I'm comparing strings here. Yes, you can compare strings. If you had done my previous challenge, you would know this. But if you have two strings and they are the same, then you can use them in comparison with the equals operator. Let's get back to our task. So if it's Saturday, I want some chocolate as well. Okay, so you have this condition, and let's test now. What's the date? Well, the date is Monday. Then if it's Monday, I only say, hello, Mr. Frank, I want some tomatoes, bread and milk, and leave. But if it's Saturday, look what happens now. You have the 4 strings outputted as before, that you want some tomatoes, bread and milk, but you have the final one as well, which is that you want some chocolate. That's how you conditionally execute code. So you have a command which occurs, but it only occurs when a given condition is met. And the condition you have is that the current date is Saturday. That's how you apply an if statement in real life and in computer software. Now let's get back to our task. The task was to have a grade inputted from the terminal. We'll input it in a double. Double, to remind you, is a data type which accepts fractional numbers. And now you say double.parse console.readline. Okay, so now you say, hey, if the grade is greater than or equal 5.5, I want you to output excellent. So now I input the grade 4. You don't have any result. Yes, we did write the command that you say to the terminal excellent, but since the condition wasn't met, you won't do it. On the other hand, if I input 5.6, now the condition is met, and thus you have an excellent score. Okay? So that's the task we have here, and let's test it. We have a competition here, which we'll go to. I hope you're familiar with Judge. My lovely password here. Now I log in, and now I have the task excellent result. So I copy my code, I paste it here, I submit, refresh, and I have 66 out of 100 points. Why is that? Well, there is an additional thing in a task, and that's that if you don't have an excellent score, you want to output not excellent. In that case, what you can use is another new thing called an else statement. How does an else statement work? Well, you have, as usual, your condition and the result from your condition, but you also have an alternative code which executes when the condition is not met. So the condition is if the grade is greater than 5.5, output excellent. Don't output anything else, just excellent and stop there. But if that condition is not met in every other case, output not excellent. Okay? So how do you use that to your lovely robot? Well, imagine that you've become a bit sloppy in your regime. So now you've have this new diet, which is that on Saturday you eat chocolate, but if it's not a Saturday, on any other day, you eat, instead of a chocolate, you get a protein bar. Okay? So, the way you do that is by using an else statement. To your robot, what you say is go to your shop, buy the 3 groceries as always, and if it's a Saturday, buy a chocolate. But in any other case, in any other day, in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, in any other case, I want you to buy a protein bar. How do you achieve that? You use an if statement. Let's see how that happens. So I'll save this, copy it somewhere, and now I write, hey, I want you, hello Mr. Robot, I want you to say, I want some milk. I should have saved that. Bread, milk, bread, and tomatoes. And you have your date. Okay. Now you want to say, hey, if the date is Saturday, then I want you to get some chocolate. I want some chocolate. So you start your lovely program. Now you write that it's Monday and you'll have only 3 products. But if it was Saturday, you get a chocolate as well. Oh, thank God. Now let's change this. Let's add an additional condition that if it's not Saturday, in any other case, I want you to get a protein bar. So what you write is an else. In the else statement, you don't have these brackets here. The reason you don't have them is that the else statement executes on any other condition, in any other case. The else statement executes whenever it's not Saturday, so you don't have to write it. You don't necessarily have to write if it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever. You can just write in any other case, do this. So what's the any other case? Where you write, I want just a protein bar. Okay, let's do this. Well, imagine it's a Saturday. And notice that the result is as before. Although we have an else statement, that code in the else statement didn't get executed. The reason is that the condition we had was met. Since it's met, we execute that and don't execute the else statement. That is, if it's a Saturday, you only get chocolate, but you don't get a protein bar. On the other hand, let's say it was a Monday, you have the 3 things as always, but this time you have a protein bar request as well. We didn't have an explicit condition for that, but we did say that if you don't get chocolate, if it's not Saturday, in any other case, buy me a protein bar. So that's an else statement. That's how you use it. You use it in any other case. Let's get back to our okay. This is robot program. Okay, robot program. I'll name it that way. Okay, now I add a new project, which is simple checks demo. Damn. Simple conditions demo. Okay, I added. Set this as start of project so that we work with it. Okay, and we remove the unnecessary stuff. So we had the grade, double grade, is equal to double dot parse exo.readline. If grade is greater than or equal to 5.5, then console write 1 excellent. But we had the additional condition that if it's not, then I want you to output not excellent. Let's just see the case in here because I'm not sure. Not excellent, and this is lowercase. Okay, so let's try it now. I input a 4, this is not excellent, I didn't meet the criteria. I input a 5.7, this is excellent. Okay, so that's how it works. That's how else statement works, and let's test our program this time in a lovely judge system. Submit, refresh, and you have 0 out of 100. Wow, why is that? Well, I missed my exclamation mark here. Oh, okay, this was without the else statement. Sorry, I made a mistake here. Well, I submit, I refresh. The problem previously was not that we were missing an else statement, but we needed an exclamation mark. You gotta be careful about that. And the second task with the else statement is this. Okay, submit, refresh. Okay, 33 points. Why is that? Well, let's see it here. So we check if it's greater than or equal to, and we missed a dot here. Okay, so this is a bit nasty about the judge system, but you have to be careful with the specific things you output. Although you have a correct program, the things you output has to be 100% the same, otherwise it won't match. Okay, so that's the if and else statement. One final thing, when you're writing an if and else statement, you have blocks of code, as I said, and you write them with, now ignore this else if statement, just imagine it was an else. This is not important currently, we'll talk about that later. But now we have curly brackets, and as I said, in your curly brackets you have your code, but you have an option to not put any curly brackets. If you have that, then your block of code is still there, but it's only the first line. And I don't recommend you do it. What do I mean? Instead of writing this program this way, I write it this way. Okay, excellent, not excellent. This still works. You still have the same output. I don't need the brackets, I can just write it like this. But the problem with this way of writing it is that if I want to input more than one line, let's say try harder next time, this line won't be part of the block of the else statement. It's going to be separate from it. So writing it this way and this way makes no difference. So you gotta be careful about that. What am I meaning? If I write 5.5, it says excellent, try harder next time. What? I got an excellent and you still say I should try harder? That's not correct, man. And he's right if he tells you that. Because try harder next time should be in a block. If I, on the other hand, put this inside my block like this, everything's going to be okay. Given that I format everything correctly, of course. Okay, now if I write 5.5, I get an excellent. If I write 4, I get the correct thing. Okay, so my advice is, in this case, always put curly brackets. You can just go without putting them, but if you do that, you can only put one command. If you put more than one, you get a wrong problem. In this case, you have tomato buy. In this case, you have only tomato when the color is red. Okay, so that's the example we have here, which shows the same thing. And now it's your turn. Go there, experiment, try. I want you to go there. Okay, I want you to give you a challenge. I want you to go there and write a program that says, continue a robot program. You can call him Robbie or something like that. I wanted to put another condition. I wanted to say that if the day is Friday, actually, look, I want you to go there and I want you to get the 3 products which you always get, but for any given day, take a different thing. For example, if it's Monday, I want you to take a banana. If it's Tuesday, I want you to take a orange juice. If it's Wednesday, something else, on and on and on. So I want you to experiment with that and write that program, which for every given day, it gets a different product. And I want you to write that if it's not Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or any of the days, if I output apples, then I want you to output this is not the correct date. And that's a bit harder. We haven't learned how to do that yet, but I trust you'll be able to find on your own, and that's why this is a challenge. So I want you to go there and rock it out. See you in the next video.